I'm 25 years old and I currently have about 92,000 saved and invested, and I got here without building a business or being a genius investor. Instead, I've learned 7 important lessons that shape the way I view, spend, and save my money. Let's begin with number 1, consistency is king. The way that money is portrayed on social media would make you think that anybody who is wealthy got there fast. But in reality, for the vast majority of wealthy individuals, this is not the case. In a study of 10,000 millionaires, 3/4 of participants said that it was consistent investing over a long period of time that led to their success. And this is certainly something I have realized in my own personal finance journey as well. Over just the past 2 years, I've kept it as simple as consistently investing 15% of my paycheck to my 401k, as well as an additional amount every month to my traditional brokerage account, and then saving a bit as well in a high yield savings account. At first, it didn't seem like much, but over the course of just a couple years, I've already seen returns of over $8,000 on my investments. And obviously, this isn't some insane figure, but it's a start. And the good news is that with time and compound interest, this will continue to snowball. In fact, if we look at a simple compound interest calculator, we can see that it really is just all about consistency. As an example, if you invest $500 a month over the course of 40 years, earning an average return of 7% a year, you will end up with over $1.2 million, even though you only invested $240,000. So the reality of the situation is that if you are consistently saving and investing your money, you are putting yourself in the position to succeed. And this leads into lesson number 2, which is that saving is a choice. The common perception of saving is that you save the money that you have left over after your expenses, meaning the flow of money is collect your paycheck, spend some money, and whatever is left is the amount you save in the end. However, what I've learned is that you need to make the choice to shift the flow around to be collect your money, save first, and then spend what is left over. The reason being that it is very easy to overspend if you aren't thinking about the amount of money that you want to save. You will justify it as, oh, I'll just save next month. But then you end up doing that every month, and by the end of the year, you've saved almost nothing. So what I've learned, and what I would recommend to you, is to make your choice to route your money to your investments and savings first, and then spend what's left over. And this brings me to the next lesson, which is learning is easy, implementing is hard. See, these days we have access to almost any sort of information we could possibly want to learn about, and this is true for all things personal finance, from saving to budgeting to investing. If you wanted to, you could just ask ChatGPT to make you a personal finance plan, and I'm sure it would kick out a pretty good one. But the one thing it can't do for us yet is actually put the plan into motion. It's on us to actually take the steps once we know them. For example, in your head, you can know that it is in your best interest to invest every month, but when it actually comes to investing, you might feel some friction in the setup and actual depositing of your funds into your account. You might push it off because going through the process of researching the stocks and then actually doing it takes a little bit of intentionality and time. And then you just keep pushing it off over and over again. So the truth here is that we need to develop financial discipline. You have to intentionally make the decision to commit to following through on the things you learn about personal finance. This means focusing efforts on saving up an emergency fund, investing once you understand it, and actually making and sticking to a budget. If you can master the discipline to execute the things you learn, you're going to put yourself in a great spot financially. And in a broader scope, just life in general. With that, the next lesson I learned is that income means nothing without context. I used to think the main indicator of somebody's financial success was their income. And don't get me wrong, a high income can certainly be helpful, but I've learned that the actual main indicator of financial success is how you save, spend, and invest your money. Meaning that your use of your money is the context in which to view your income. Somebody can be bringing home $500,000 a year, but just as simply, they could be spending $500,000 a year on fancy cars and luxury goods and extravagant vacations. And by the end of the year, they actually could have less money left over than somebody making just $50K a year, who don't go around spending all of their money. Now, I'm sharing this lesson because it would be very easy to think that if you are making good money, you are automatically going to be financially successful. But you and I both need to be wary of the way we are actually using our money. Being intentional and responsible with your money is the key to financial success, and this brings me to the next lesson, which is that life happens. You don't know when, but it is almost guaranteed that some sort of financial setback will occur at some point. So the lesson that I've learned is to be prepared for it. The easiest way to do that is simply by saving up an emergency fund to cover any unexpected expenses. Typically, the best piece of advice I've found is to save between 3 and 6 months worth of living expenses and save it away in a high yield savings account and never touch it unless something that really requires it comes up. Whether it's your car breaking down, a trip to the hospital, or something else, it never hurts to have some money saved up. Metaphorically speaking, you don't want to be caught in the rain with no umbrella. Now, the next lesson I've learned is to be used after setting yourself up for success by doing all the things we've previously mentioned. And then the new lesson is actually to spend some money. See, something that you can easily do if you're laser focused on your personal finances is that you can get carried away with trying to save as much money as possible and eliminate every last bit of unnecessary spending. However, there is no point in saving up your money if you don't ever use it. I believe it's actually good to spend some money once you've covered all your other financial needs, as it can be a tool to allow you to experience things that make life worth living. Money itself won't make you happy, but using money to buy the right things can bring happiness. So this is more a message for the people who are already financially set up to enjoy some of the fruits of your labor. Don't get carried away, but presumably, if you've already done the other steps right, then you can afford to have a nice dinner or buy something new. In a similar train of thought, the next lesson is that net worth is not a defining characteristic. If you're too far down the personal finance rabbit hole, you might think that your net worth is the single thing that defines your success. You only make decisions that allow you to save money or put yourself in a position to make more money. However, in the grand scheme of things, this is not what's important. As cliche as it sounds, it's more important to pour time into relationships, effort into the things you love, and being generous. Having money can help with all of these things, but if you become focused solely on the money, you will likely lose sight of the others. You have to balance yourself in between being a good steward of your finances and allowing yourself to do the things that matter most. Those are the 7 most important lessons I've learned, and if you found this interesting, you might also find this video about 10 ways to help you save interesting as well. Thanks for watching.